Everyone, Colin Hall, BizplansUK. Today I'm going to talk a bit about consultants and the type of consultants and which type to use for what kind of issue. So I have been in industry and as a consultant on and off for over 20 years. I've worked as a solo consultant. I've run a small boutique consultancy. I have contracted to the Big Four, and of course I now run BizplansUK. So I've had a chance to see a lot of different types of consultancies at work, and broadly they fall into three categories. Number one, you have your brain the size of a planet consultancy. Now these hire very, very bright individuals, often straight from business school, usually having got a double first in economics, politics, or other disciplines, and they apply huge amounts of brain power to any particular question they're asked. They certainly have their place, but it's nearly always the big corporations because they're very, very expensive. Very often you'll see them used by a big corporation that needs a endorsement, a quality mark to tick off their strategy so they can go to the market, look, we must be doing the right thing because so-and-so says so, the big brains. The next type of consultant you have are the robots. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. What I mean is that they follow a process. They'll often talk about the so-and-so way or the such and such method, and they apply that process heavily to whatever business problem you throw at them. These are also big companies, and they tend to work for big to medium-sized companies, and they're very often used when the company knows what it wants to achieve but isn't quite sure how to do it, and wants somebody to hold their hand. And then finally you have what I call the greybeards. I call them greybeards because they've nearly all worked in industry for 30 plus years, often semi-retired, and they're either a functional expert, i.e. I've worked in sales for 30 years, or HR or finance, or they're a sector expert. I've got masses of experience in aviation or biopharma or FMCG. And these tend to be very small. They're either one-man bands or small boutique consultancies, and they tend to charge a lot less than the other two. And if you are looking to hire a consultant, it's important you understand what kind of consultant you need. Now, it's unfair to say that these three types only do that one thing. I don't want to suggest that a robot or a greybeard isn't clever, or that a big brain knows nothing about certain markets, functions, and doesn't follow at least some semblance of a process. So yes, they do cross over, but it's how they lead and how they approach the client that's important. And if you're a small business, you probably can't afford a big brain. And I imagine that the robots will be quite entrapping, encasing. It's too structured. So you'll nearly always be hiring a greybeard. And then you need to see whether or not that greybeard is more than a greybeard, i.e. are they clever? Do they have a brain? And do they have at least enough process to be able to allow you to follow what they've done, as opposed to just opine, even if that opinion is correct? So if you are a small business, you're looking for a consultant, it's almost certainly a greybeard, but look for one that is bright, clever, and also has some form of structure that you can follow, which means afterwards you can go back and check what was done, how it was done, and therefore know where things went wrong or how to replicate it for the future. So as we're talking about consultants, the shout out is to BizplansUK. Please check us out and call us if you need us. Cheers.